Today I'm going to show you your IsoDri Moisture Management System demonstration kit and also show you how to deliver the perfect demo to your customer. First, in your kit, you will find an instruction sheet for the demo as well as quick sell points to keep you focused during the presentation. The next sheet will be a laminated calculation form that you will use, and we'll get to that in just a moment. The next item is your hot plate. So it comes in this Nomex sleeve. We're going to unwrap that and get this set up right away because it does take a few moments for it to warm up. Noting also in your kit an extension cord because you don't know where the nearest outlet might be. So let's get that turned on. Crank that up there to the max. Careful of the extension cord. We'll set this aside. Next, make sure you have your water bottle filled with water before your presentation starts. You'll need that. Here's some markers for your calculation. They're dry erase, so you'll be able to use that sheet over and over. Next are your two bowls. One is for the IsoDri, the smaller bowl, and the next is for dunking the swatches. Then you have your swatches and a towel because it's likely that you will get water all over the place. So be careful where you are delivering the demonstration. And finally, a scale. So I'm going to set aside the kit for now. Also make sure you have a Lion turnout coat available. To prepare, make sure you have some water in both bowls. Just enough to be able to dunk the swatches. You'll notice in your swatch kit, you have the longer, smaller swatches here. These are for your IsoDri demonstration. And you will also have the wider swatches for the IsoDri hot plate portion. So you'll only need one during each portion. Set those aside as you're preparing. All right, I believe that we are ready to start the presentation. So find your scale, make sure that it's ready to go, has batteries in it, turning it on, making sure that it is set to grams. That's where we are going to start. You want to make sure that it's flat on the table and that you zero it out before you get started. To start your IsoDri demo, find your two swatches. The IsoDri, which will have the Glide Ice face cloth and the Airflow as the backing, or the conventional liner system. Turn on your scale, make sure that it resets itself to 0 in grams, and lay it on there. You'll see that this time we got 7 for the IsoDri swatch. Let it set itself back to 0. And on this one, we're getting 6. It's fine, there's some variation in the swatches from time to time. It should all work out. Next, use a calculator. You can use one that is on your cell phone typically, or make sure you carry one with you. We're going to put the swatches in the water. You can have the customer do this, make sure that you completely soak them, and then we're going to reweigh them. So we can let it drip just a little bit and lay that on there. We're going to get 45 grams, record that, and then soak the IsoDri swatch. And we've got 24 grams. So you can see a difference here in how much water the swatches have taken on. Next, we're going to do a difference in the grams. So that's where you can use your calculator. So you will do 45 minus 6, 39. This part you could probably do in your head, but it'll get a little more complicated. 24 minus 7 is 17. We're going to take both of those numbers and multiply them by 167. 167 is the number of swatches of material that would be in a set of turnout gear. So we're going to do 39 times 167, giving us 6,513. Next, we're going to do 17 times 167, and that is 2,839. Then we're going to convert those to ounces by dividing by 28. 6513 divided by 28, giving us 233. I'm going to go ahead and round on that. And 2,839 divided by 28 to convert to ounces gives us 101, and rounding there. Then we're going to convert to pounds by dividing by 16. So 233 divided by 16 equals 14.6. 101 divided by 16 to convert to pounds gives us 6.31. You can subtract those, 14.6 minus 6.31, and you can see that there is an 8-pound difference in the amount of water that an entire set of gear would take on in a conventional liner system versus IsoDri. We're going to set up the IsoDri swatches because we talked about 5 different areas of the IsoDri moisture management system. Right now we've talked about 4, and we're going to set up the 5th, which is IsoDri. So take your IsoDri swatches along with the conventional liner system and tuck them in, put them over the edge of the bowl. We're just going to let those sit there for a little bit. The IsoDri is important because it is used in the water wells as well as the yoke of the coat and the bottom of the pants. It is treated on both sides with the durable water repellency to help prevent the wicking of outside water sources from getting into the system, or from wicking up your leg if you were standing in a flooded basement, for example. So we're going to let that sit there for just a moment. Next, we're going to take our 2 swatches, and you can certainly have the customer do this if you like. Have them dunk them in the water again to get them nice and wet. Now we're going to use our hot plate, which should be nice and warm for us. And we always want to make sure that the face cloth, so the shiny side, is up. And that is because that is what is touching your body. That is not the part that is exposed to the extreme heat. So make sure the shiny side, the glide ice, and the gold side are up. And we're going to lay both of those without wringing them out on this hot plate. You can see here that the IsoDri demo is working. The smoke is coming off here, so that it's warming up. During this time, you would want to tell the customers about water transmitting heat 21 times faster than air, and how important it is to have a dry set of gear. It makes it more predictable from a thermal protection standpoint, as well as keeping you drier, lighter, more comfortable, and less weight on the firefighter, helping to prevent firefighter stress and fatigue. So we're going to let those sit for a little bit. You're going to take them off the hot plate, hand them to your customer. I would always feel them first because they do get quite hot. At least the conventional liner system will be pretty hot. Pass them to your customer, ask them to squeeze in their hand. They will feel a difference. Another reason to feel them yourself before passing them on to the customer is to make sure that you have left them on the hot plate long enough and that your hot plate was indeed turned on and warm. So by the time your customer passes them to the next person and to the next person, they might start cooling off a little bit. So if you get to 3 or 4 people, simply get the swatches back and dunk them again. Do it again if there are more people on the committee that you want to have feel your IsoDri garment. So you will feel that the conventional liner system is much hotter to the touch. This becomes very impactful. Then we're going to come back to the IsoDri swatches. The IsoDri swatches, as they have been sitting in the water, you will be able to see the wicking of the moisture up the conventional liner system, whereas this one has repelled the water. Many times, if you leave these in here long enough, a pool of water will start to form on the conventional side. Again, be careful as to what surface you have these on. If you have the Chief's nice wood desk, important to not soak that. So you have your towel if you need to clean up any certain areas. That completes the demo portion. What I typically like to do is leave the swatches out on the desk area and move into a presentation on the features and benefits of V-Force or Super Deluxe, whichever line V-Force or whichever line turnout that you may be presenting that day. You'll come back to these a half an hour later, pick them up and let the customer feel them. There should still be a difference in how wet the conventional liner system is versus the IsoDri. You will be able to feel it as well as wring out the water. So that concludes today's presentation. If you have any questions, please get with your distribution sales manager, or please join us at Lyon University for further instruction.